Welcome back. We're talking with Michael Curry, president of the Boston NAACP. And Michael, we, in recent months, all our viewers know, amid the uproar over highly publicized cases of unarmed black men being killed by police, we've had Commissioner Paul Evans in here. We've had Reverend Eugene Rivers, both saying that Boston police have a strong relationship with communities of color and don't deserve a lot of the criticism they've been getting from protesters. What's the truth as you see it?
The truth is, you know, and Commissioner Evans and I have this conversation all the time, I think it's not enough for us to be the best of the worst, that there are other cities that have a worse relationship with communities. But I think if you walk the streets of Dorchester, Roxbury, and Mattapan, you'll find some good stories, but you'll find also many bad stories. We've had complaints about the gang unit harassing young kids of color. That's no different in Chicago, Detroit, or New York. It happens here as well. That sometimes the license that we give our police officers to engage our communities of color, or young people in particular, is too wide. And the reality is we have to start looking at what we can do and what we can put in place to change police policies and police practices. I'm optimistic because Commissioner Evans and I talk frequently. Chief Gross understands these issues deeply, and now we have an opportunity to push things like diversity training for all officers biannually, in terms of special prosecutors, in terms of body cams. You know, that conversation's now open, and I'm very optimistic.
I mean, when the commissioner was here, I certainly, you know, no big epiphany here, sensed a certain degree of defensiveness about, hey, you know, we have really worked hard to come as far as we have gone and hold on there with some of the criticism. Obviously, it's a balancing act. How far along are we?
Yeah, we're not where we should be. And in fact, a situation like what happened in Ferguson could happen here. We saw the police officer with the Uber driver, the incident where the police officer was off duty, basically is accused of making some really racially offensive remarks to the driver and a passerby who had stopped to help the Uber driver. So we have to stop thinking that there aren't people, whether they're teachers, police officers, firefighters, or doctors, that don't bring race. The taint of race still comes into how they do their jobs. So if we can get the commissioner, Chief Gross, the mayor, and group of activists to have this conversation, then we can prevent the kind of incident that happened in Ferguson or Cleveland.
We're just about out of time, but one last quick thing. Did you approve or disapprove of the protests a couple of weeks ago that blocked I-93 during the morning rush?
Absolutely approved. I think, you know, it's a contradiction for us to look back at civil rights history. Those were disruptive protests in the 60s. This was a disruptive process. It was peaceful. It was meant to make people uncomfortable. It was meant to make people mad and to walk away and talk about, you know, what the hell were they out there disrupting our commute in the morning? And it did exactly that. I think even the 40 or so people who called me mad wanted to understand why they were there. So I think it served its purpose, and I think, you know, would we have necessarily done it the exact same way? Maybe not, but I'm optimistic when any privileged group of white kids come out and say, hey, we want to be a part of this movement to stop police brutality.
Our time is up. Please come back again soon and update us on the progress of these issues. You'd be welcome.
Love to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Michael Curry, president of the Boston NAACP. That's it for me. Now it's back to my colleagues for more WBZ News.